So here's the update I promised you on my progress with Primavera. Just to recap, she was being played in a Barry Gag, which, with its offset joints, has a strong nutcracker action on the bars, and this lifts a horse's head. This bit was inappropriate on this horse, who already has a very high head carriage anyway. It is also a very severe bit, and you will see her exhibiting all the symptoms that Bomber and I discussed in our bitting interview. Head high because of too much bar pressure, head thrown sideways, and then the nose tucked because the bit is too severe and she's trying to avoid the pressure. You will recall from my previous video that I posted that we changed the bit to a control plate mouthpiece, and this puts pressure on the tongue and drops the nose. I also had her checked medically to make sure there were no other problems causing these symptoms. I started out using the control plate only as a snaffle and had success with getting her to drop her head. You can see her dropping her head in both these stops. I then started experimenting with putting her into the bridle setup we would play her in. My first experiment was to put her in draw reins and move the snaffle rein onto the gag. Another really important point to remember is that when you're experimenting and trying to find what the horse is comfortable in, start at a slow speed. You can see me here at a trot, and let the horse first get used to the different feel of anything new before you speed up. She is such a willing girl that she tried to get it right in this setup, but you will see that she could only manage to do so when not under pressure. The minute I started to up the speed and ask for quicker stops and rollbacks, she was obviously uncomfortable and was dropping her head and tucking her nose too much. So, just to continue the bitting lesson, let's just look at some different options that were going through my head and why I was looking at those particular options. Firstly, a 3-ring gag exerts downward pressure, while a rope gag lifts the head. Because of this, I opted to stick to the rope gag type bit because she was tucking her head and nose too much. Also, as you can see, and will remember from the Bomber interview, the Buster roller has a shorter link than the control plate. So this will slightly increase bar pressure and have the effect of slightly lifting the head, while at the same time, the little roller wheel will exert tongue pressure, causing the horse to tuck the nose. I also felt that the running reins were also part of the reason she was overflexing. So I opted for 2 straight reins, one on the gag and one on the snaffle. And at this point, she feels the best and most comfortable in this setup since I started working on her. You will recall that I said every time you change the setup, give a horse the chance to feel it and find out what the different feel is. And you can see me here just at a walk checking the horse. You will see also that I've slightly picked my hands up just to stop her trying to duck her head too much. And you can see no head ducking, or rather no overhead ducking. She's got her nose nicely tucked and she feels beautifully light and lateral and very comfortable in this setup. You can see she's not pointing her nose up. She's got it nicely tucked down, but without the overflex of the neck. I'm moving on here to a slightly quicker speed, and the minute you do, you can see a slight drop of that nose, and here she is now at a canter, and she's starting to really get the feeling of that bit and feel very organized, and even the rollbacks now are good because she's organized and she's not unbalancing her shoulders in the stops with throwing her head sideways. She's obviously a work in progress, so I will keep you updated, but she's really doing well.